Hi guys, I hope that you're all doing well. This is probably the last video under grade 10 factorization. We'll be learning the K method or the substitution method. So the K method, also known as the substitution method, is basically a strategy in algebra that is designed to make complicated looking expressions much simpler to factorize. Okay, for example, if you have x plus 2 squared minus 3, x plus 2 minus 10. Let's look at this expression. Do you guys see what's going on? We have an x plus 2 here and x plus 2. However, the x plus 2 is squared. We have a negative 3 here, and we have a constant term which is negative 10. This looks a bit weird, but it's basically y squared minus 3y minus 10. Let's replace this part with the y and this part with y. We still have the squared, we still have the negative 3, and we still have the negative 10. So instead of multiplying out the brackets, this part as well as that part, which will create a very long and messy polynomial that is hard to factorize when you start from top to bottom, we temporarily hide the complicated bracket by replacing it with a single letter, usually k. So we'll replace, let's say, x plus 2 is the weird part, okay? We'll replace it with k, x plus 2 it's k, then we have our squared minus 3, x plus 2, which is k minus 10. So can you guys see that this looks like a trinomial? It's easier to factorize when it's in this manner compared to that one. So I wrote down the steps for you guys on the side. I don't think your teacher will give you these kind of steps, but I tried making sure that this is as easy as possible. So for the first step, you have to find the weird expression. Remember, we had brackets in that example. Then substitute k, replace that weird expression with k, then factorize in terms of k, where we had the trinomial. Factorization methods, remember, you have the difference of two squares, trinomials, grouping, and so on. And then substitute back to the weird expression. This will make sense when I try the first example. Let's do x plus 2 squared minus 3, x plus 2 minus 10. The same example. Let's look at the weird part. X plus 2 and x plus 2 makes our expression look a bit more complicated. So let's find the weird expression. That's what we've done. Step 2, substitute k. So let's say we're letting our teacher know, okay? You have to specify let k be x plus 2, or let x plus 2 be k. Now let's rewrite the expression. We have x plus 2, let's replace it with k. We have our k squared. This part is k squared minus 3. Let's replace this x plus 2 with k. K, we have a constant term which is minus 10. So do you guys still remember how to factorize trinomials? If so, you know that your answer should be k minus 5 and k plus 2. If you can factorize this, please go back to the factorization videos. So we found our weird expression. We substituted k. We let k be x plus 2, right? Then we factorized in terms of k. We had k here. You saw that it's a trinomial, and this is how we factorized. Now we need to substitute back to the weird expression. You have k minus 5. Remember, k is x plus 2. So let's open a square bracket. This should be, where we see k, it should be x plus 2 in a bracket, minus 5. Close the bracket, open another bracket. Where we see k, we should have x plus 2. What are we left with? Plus 2. Close the bracket. So in the first bracket, can you guys see that we have x plus 2 minus 5. And in the second bracket, we have x plus 2 plus 2. So this should be x plus 2 minus 5 and x plus 2 plus 2. Okay, now let's look for like terms. You have x, 2 minus 5 is negative 3. In the second bracket, we have x, 2 plus 2, which is 4. And that is how we factorize the first example using the substitution method or the k method. This is a final answer. We had to use k so that it looks a bit more approachable. So the k method, in simple terms, basically helps you to see expressions in a simpler manner. Now let's try the second example. This video was brought to you by Spotify. Whether you love discovering new music, listening to podcasts, or creating the perfect playlist, Spotify has something for everyone. With the free version, you can enjoy millions of songs anytime, anywhere. Want the ultimate experience? Upgrade to Spotify Premium to enjoy ad-free listening, offline downloads, unlimited skips, and even better sound quality. No interruptions, just non-stop music and entertainment wherever you go. Download Spotify today and start listening to music your way. Let's do number 2. We have 2 times a minus 1 squared plus 5 times a minus 1 plus 2. What's the first step? Find the weird expression. We have a minus 1 here and a minus 1 there. What do we do again? We substitute k. We let k be a minus 1. Therefore, we should have 2 a minus 1 becomes k squared plus 5 a minus 1 becomes k plus 2. Okay, now we have 2k squared plus 5k plus 2. How do you factorize this again? Remember, it's a trinomial, but in this case, our coefficient isn't 1, it's 2. And remember, this one requires a different step compared to if it were 1. So factorize this, pause the video, and your final answer should be 2k plus 1 times k plus 2. We substituted k and factorized using the trinomial formula. What's the last step? Substitute back to the weird expression. Where we see k, we have to write a minus 1. So we'll need a square bracket. What do we have? 2 times k, which is a minus 1, plus 1, right? Close the bracket. In the second bracket, we have k, so we can write it as a minus 1 plus 2. So what can we do here to simplify it in the brackets? We can distribute this. We'll be left with a plus 1, then this with that. Let's try the first bracket. First, we have 2 times a, which is 2a. Then 2 times negative 1 is negative 2 plus 1. Close the bracket. I made a mistake in the second bracket. This should be a minus 1 plus 2. Okay, so we have a minus 1 plus 2. Let's simplify the first bracket. We have 2a, we have negative 2 plus 1, which is negative 1. In the second bracket, we have a, negative 2 plus 2, negative 1 plus 2, which is a positive 1. So we have 2a minus 1 times a plus 1. This is your final answer. That is how we substitute, that is how we factorize using the substitution method. Let's move to the third example. Let's try number 3. We have x squared minus 1 squared minus 4. What's the first step? Find the weird expression. This part looks a bit weird, so you can replace it with k so that it's easier to see what we're dealing with. So let k be x squared minus 1. So we should have k squared minus 4. So can you guys see that we have a difference of 2 squares? I believe that we've done this question before in the difference of 2 squares videos. In the difference of 2 squares video or the lesson, however, I hadn't introduced the k method at that part, so I couldn't really teach you guys that. So in this case, I hope that you guys see that the k method is quite helpful. K squared minus 4. When you factorize this, what do you get? You should know the difference of 2 squares as well. K minus 2, k plus 2. Okay, What's the next step? We have to substitute back to the weird part. We have k minus 2, k plus 2. So where we see k, we should substitute x minus 1. So square bracket again, k, we have x squared minus 1. We're left with a minus 2. Close the bracket. Second bracket, we have k, so it should be x squared minus 1 plus 2. Now let's simplify what's inside the bracket. We have x squared minus 1 minus 2. So we could calculate minus 1 minus 2 without me having to rewrite that. This should be x squared minus 1 minus 2 should give you a negative 3. In the second bracket, you have x squared minus 1 plus 2. So x squared minus 1 plus 2, which is positive 1. So our final answer is x squared minus 3 times x squared plus 1. Let's move to the fourth example. We have x plus 1 over 2 squared minus 4 times x plus 1 over x plus 4. This looks very complicated. We can't really tell what we're dealing with here, so we can use the substitution method. Find the weird expression. We can try to get rid of this by replacing it with k. So let k be x plus 1 over x. Okay, so replace this part with k. We have k squared, we have a minus 4, and that weird expression, we replace it with k plus 4. So what do we have here? K squared minus 4k plus 4, we have a trinomial. When you factorize this, you should get k minus 2, k minus 2. This is a perfect square trinomial. So you can write this as k minus 2 squared. Remember, there's a video in which I taught you guys how to deal with the perfect square trinomial. So for the last step, you have to to substitute back to the weird expression. Where we see k, we have to write down our fraction, which is x plus 1 over x. You substituted x plus 1 over x where we see k. We're left with a negative 2 squared. And this is our final answer. Now let's move to the last example. Last example, you have x plus y squared minus 7x plus y plus 12. Let's find the weird expression, this part. So you can let k be x plus y. Step 2, substitute k. Okay, x plus y, replace it with k squared minus 7x plus y, it's k plus 12. Now, let's factorize this trinomial. We should have k minus 3, k minus 4. That's the next step. You have to substitute back to the weird. K, where we see k, we should have x plus y minus 3, right? In the second bracket, we have k, which is x plus y minus 4. Now, can we factorize what's in the bracket? We don't have any like terms, and there isn't a single factorization method that we can use. So our final answer could just be x plus y minus 3 times x plus y minus 4. This is your final answer. And that is the last lesson under grade 10 factorization. You guys will use this in grade 11 and grade 12. You'll need the king method in grade 12. You'll need to know the sum of 2 cubes, the difference, and all the other factorization method in grade 11 as well as grade 12. And if you guys need any extra questions, you can just send us an email or join our WhatsApp groups, and I'll share more activities there. In this following lesson, I almost said the second lesson, excuse me. In the following lesson, I'll teach you guys how to deal with algebraic expressions, where you take all the factorization methods that you've mastered and you'll use them to solve different fractions. This will prepare you guys for question 1 in paper 1 of grade 10 mathematics. However, algebra is used multiple times in mathematics. You'll need it when you do factorization as well as other you'll need it when you do trigonometry as well as other major topics. Thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video.